All right, so for the fifth episode of the Open Dialogue podcast, I'd like to introduce my friend Ryan Jones. Ryan was a good friend of mine at UMass Lowell, graduated in 2019, played overseas last year in Portugal, and yeah, welcome on, Ryan.
Appreciate it, bro.
This is the first episode where we're doing it on video, specifically requested by Ryan himself because he just got a haircut.
Yes. Put me on the spot.
Okay, so let's start with kind of from the beginning. So probably like high school. Like tell me about high school and then moving your way up to college.
Just like my basketball journey and stuff.
Probably if you want to add anything else that you think is important, then you can.
Okay. Well, growing up, my dad was a big time football player, so actually football was my most natural sport by far, and it was probably the one I thought I was gonna play. I started playing football, baseball, and basketball in middle school. But when I was in 8th grade, I want to say like 12, 13, I got one of those, like, for Christmas, I got like a rebounding net that went on the side of my hoop, and I was out there shooting 500,000 shots and just was never getting bored and started getting really into seeing different stuff on YouTube, watching Kobe and a bunch of different dudes in the NBA. I was a big Derrick Rose fan. And I just kind of fell in love with the game with that. And, right before high school started, I decided that I was going to cut it down to just basketball and focus on that. And, yeah, that's how I got started with that.
So when did you start like actually playing good? You started thinking you could be a college player.
I felt like I could be a college player. When I was 13 and made that decision, I had a goal to play Division I and to win Player of the Year for my state. I was one of the better freshmen coming in my freshman year of high school, but I wasn't the best by any means. I was maybe like top 10, something like that. But I made the varsity cut and ended up floating JV and varsity that first year. Then I ended up transferring, and I had to play JV that year because of their transfer rules. So my sophomore year, I played JV, and going in my junior year probably was when everything clicked. My first game, I came out. I wasn't expecting it, but they gave me a box and won my first game. And yeah, my junior year, I got first team All State, and everything was just kind of coming together for me, and that goal was seeming more realistic.
And when did you start picking up college offers?
I got offered by Fort Lewis my junior year, Division II in Colorado. But I really only just wanted to play Division I. So I was actually considering going to a prep school in Florida if I didn't get any offers. But going into my senior year, I played with the Danny Granger Hurricanes AAU team, and we went to Dallas for the Great American Shootout, and we went to Vegas. In those two tournaments, I picked up 3 offers, I want to say. Yeah, going into my senior year, I didn't have any Division I offers, but I went to a AAU tournament in Dallas and in Vegas. And in Dallas, Coach Duke and Biko saw me separate occasions, actually. And then they offered me when I was there in Dallas. That was my first offer. And I got 3. I got them, Liberty, and Southern University were my 3 coming out of those 2 tournaments. And I made a decision. I committed the first week of senior year of high school. I took a visit out to Lowell. I had a scheduled visit with Liberty in October for a home visit, but I actually didn't take it. I liked everything with Lowell and ended up committing pretty early.
And what type of size did you have when you were going into your senior year?
In high school?
Yeah. Like, were you 6 feet yet?
I was about 6'1", 6'2", but I was about 100 and maybe 50.
Yeah, so
145, 150 pounds.
Yeah.
My senior year.
Because the reason I ask is there's obviously a lot of players that are undersized that I think could relate to your story. So you were undersized and still able to become a successful Division I player. So I guess, do you have any advice for those types of players? Because there's a lot of them out there.
Um, I guess the way I kind of built my game was, well, my dad always told me that I needed to be just as good around the basket and dribbling the ball with both hands. So I was really good early with my offhand, was my right hand. So I worked on that. And then footwork is huge because, I mean, footwork can be athleticism at times, and, you know, skill can be athleticism at times. So, you know, evolving and being able to shoot from range definitely opens the floor, gives you more opportunities where you might not have to you know, you don't have to go up against those athletic dudes. They swing it to you, you can just jack it, and, you know. But yeah, I would say footwork, ball handling, and shooting, like those three things. If you got those down and you got that confidence, you can kind of counteract the athleticism that you might not have.
And what do you think, like, what do you think Duke and Beat, what stood out to Duke and Biko the most?
About me,
Yes.
um, to be honest, I think just my overall, but just my ability with the ball, my skill with the ball. I think I was good at making plays, but I also could really score.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, when they saw me, I was actually just a 2. I wasn't playing the point at all at that time. But I had the skill to be a point. I had the handle to be a point, and I definitely could shoot it and fill it up.
Mm-hmm. So you commit to UMass Lowell. What was that experience like your freshman year?
Really, I did not like my freshman year.
Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't. I wasn't happy with the way I was playing, which was probably the biggest thing, to be honest, because once that, you know, if that's going well, everything else really isn't that important to me. But that was hard. It was different living situations, I would say. I was in Fox, but I was in a forced triple that year, which made it a little hectic because
Who'd you room with?
it was a 2-person room. I roomed with Isaac and Logan.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had a forced triple. It was really cluttered in there. But it was cool. It was cool though at the same time. I mean, I did enjoy getting away from the family, but there was that homesick feeling at some point. Definitely hit around Christmas, going into Christmas. I think I was feeling homesick, but we did get to see them for a couple of days. But it was a lot better going into my sophomore year, I would say. I adjusted to everything, wasn't homesick anymore, a little more grown up, and basketball just started going better for me as well.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing that's important. A lot of guys are going to go to their school and probably be pretty unhappy their freshman year, whether basketball is going well or not. Like, it's just like a way different environment. So do you have any advice for people in that department, like who maybe be on the edge of transferring just because they're a little unhappy or maybe feeling the same way that you did?
Um, I mean, if you really love the game and it's about that, then it should remain about that for the most part. I mean, there's other things that are factors. But for me, like you know, being far away from family, eventually just didn't become a factor because I knew why I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just focused on that. So, I mean, honestly, you just got to stay focused on what matters at the time. I mean, family always matters, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you know, being at school, you have a focus, you have a job. So you gotta get absorbed in that and you know, work your ass off and do the best you can so that you're not wasting your time out there.
Yeah. But also, I think a lot of guys aren't going to get the playing time they want their first year. They might be promised a lot of things that they don't get their freshman year. They're told that they're going to run the show, and they don't get that. So I think that's really important too. Like, having that mindset that it's a long game. You have 4, possibly even 5 years, and it's important to stay with that mindset of just being consistent and sticking with it.
Yeah, I mean, my freshman year, I did start, but I definitely wasn't happy with my playing time. I was playing about half the game, but something I learned, and I would say for other people who might, you know, if you're not happy with your playing time, it's, how do I word this? You know, the coaches are just doing what they think is best for the team to win.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not getting the time you want, then you might even be better than the person you think you're better than playing in front of you, maybe, but not, if you are, it's not by very much. It's too close. You need to make more of a gap. Like, if you're not happy with your playing time, it's because you're not making it obvious that you deserve to be on the floor.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I would say for people, if you're not happy with your playing time and what's going on, don't start pointing the finger at other people. Try to self-evaluate and figure out where you can get better and where you can evolve, and make sure that it's obvious next time around that you deserve to be on the floor, and that when you get in there, you're making the most of your opportunities.
And I would say fit too, because like, you might be able to beat a dude one-on-one on the team, but at the end of the day, you have to fit within the system of the program. So they're going to play the guy, especially the point guard position, they're going to play the point guard that fits the system best. They might not need you to take a lot of shots a game. They need you to facilitate and run the offense.
Yeah, like you said, at the end of the day, the most important thing is the win. And a thing that coaches really look at that I think young players don't accept the fault in when they're not good at these things is the level of intensity of how hard you need to play at the college level is not the same at high school. And so you definitely have to get better at that. You got to play hard every possession. And then the other thing is, it's huge. You got to be able to execute down the stretch as far as defensively and offensively. You need to be where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there. Because if they can't count on you for that, they're not going to trust you to put you in the game. And I think that's a lot of things that, like, maybe the freshman is good enough and he comes in and shows spurts, but you don't execute. And sometimes, you get mad about a call, or now you're jogging back. They're going to pull you right away. That's not acceptable at this level, because everyone is good at this level, and there's someone waiting to play if you're not going to put the effort in.
Absolutely, great point. Okay, so that was your freshman year, and then kind of as time goes on, how would you summarize the rest of your time at UMass Lowell? What years kind of worked for you? What years were maybe harder than others? You couldn't be in the playoffs the first 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And then junior senior year you were eligible.
Yes, we were eligible. So I got junior, senior. So I'll go through each year then.
Yeah.
My sophomore year, I think I kind of had a similar start to my freshman year. I still was kind of trying to figure it out. Confidence wasn't completely there, but definitely was putting the work in, was getting better. And I know through the first, I think it was 9 games, I was still playing the 2 for us. And Isaac was our point, but he was having problems with his hip, and they were trying to decide whether or not he's going to do the medical red shirt. And after the 9th game, he decided he was going to take the medical red shirt, and they switched me over to point full time. And that was a big change for me, I would say, because pretty immediately after I went to the point, I was definitely playing more minutes, which helped with the rhythm and confidence and stuff like that. But I think being at the point, having the ball in my hands more, and just getting a feel for the game more, everything started to click a little better. I had a couple good games, and then I think throughout conference, I played pretty well overall. Moving forward, after that, I didn't want to go back to playing the 2.
Yeah.
I like to do both, but I definitely like playing the point. That was sophomore year. Obviously, we didn't have the tournament because we were still with ineligible. Junior year had its ups and downs. I feel like I kind of had a slow start. I had my moments. I feel like there was a lot of ups and downs as far as inconsistency with my junior year. There was times where toward the end of the year where I feel like I was kind of figuring it out mentally. I was in the right headspace, and I really played well probably the past 4 or 5 games. But looking back at the year outside of those games, I wasn't too happy with the way I played, because I wanted to have a jump from my sophomore to my junior year, and I didn't feel like I did that. And we played UMBC in the tournament, the first game of the conference tournament. I actually played pretty well, but I was in foul trouble for the majority of the game, which sucked, and we ended up losing. Was that the year they won't beat Virginia?
Yeah,
or
I
was
was
that
just
the
about
next
to say that. Yeah, that was the year they beat Virginia.
Yeah, so they beat Virginia. I'm not going to say the what ifs. We lost.
Yeah.
Not going to say the what ifs. We lost. So,
That was a good
yeah.
team.
Yeah, they were a good team. And then going into senior year, that year was a little different because it was the first year that I decided to stay the whole summer and not come back
Mm.
home to train. I wanted to do that just to have more 5-on-5s competition, and working with coaches throughout the whole summer. I just felt like it was really beneficial for me to lock in the entire summer going into my senior year. I came into the year feeling pretty good. We started. I think it was definitely one of our best starts we had as a program. We were playing better. Um, I feel like I was kind of getting a rhythm, and we were winning. I was kind of getting a rhythm, and then I got a high ankle sprain
I remember that. Yeah.
against UNH. Yeah, against UNH. Kid dove for the ball and landed completely on my leg, and I tried to keep playing that game, but I had to come right back out because I
Yeah.
would have fell if someone would have crossed over at all. But
Yeah.
yeah, and then honestly though, after the once the injury happened for me, my I just wasn't the same. Right away when I came back, I think I came back 4 or 5 games and re-injured it the second game, and missed another 4 or 5 games. And then when I came back, that was different and tough for me because the team had been playing well in my absence, and just my rhythm wasn't there. So coming back, I played. I think UMBC was my next game back, and Coach Duke told me that I wasn't starting, which was hard for me at the time because I started every game. But I try to stay focused on the team, do what I can. But my role changed at that point for sure. I was coming off the bench. I wasn't playing the same minutes, and I actually also was the two. I was no longer the point at that time. So it was the senior year was kind of disappointing the way it ended, but it is what it is, and I learned a lot moving forward going into my next year going pro.
Yeah. So the reason I think it's helpful to go year by year, because you had your injuries, you had your stretches where things were going bad, and then you had your stretches where things were going good. So a lot of like ups and downs. What types of things looking back helped you when things were going well? What was like going on that you were doing that helped things go well?
Um,
Obviously stuff out of your control, but
yeah,
you could feel a difference, I think, when things are going well. Usually you're doing something right, like in another department.
yeah. Honestly, it was 100% mental, I would say,
Okay.
because I know that throughout the whole off seasons and everything, I knew I had put the work in. I
Yeah.
knew that was zero doubt for me. So, but I think mentally, I think you spend the whole off season training, and you have all these goals and aspirations, and sometimes when you get to the moment, you put too much pressure on yourself and you try too hard. I think there was a lot of times where I was trying too hard. I wanted it too much, and because I wanted it so much, I almost seemed like I was playing stiff,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I was also something that can be a fault for me sometimes is I've always been very coachable. But to be honest, when I played my best basketball and I played the basketball they actually want me to play is when I did not care what they thought at all.
Uh-huh.
There were certain games where I got, maybe I played bad the game before, whatever, and I came into it like a FU mentality to everybody. And when I was on that type of mentality, everything was the confidence there, man. The swag was there. Everything was. I didn't have to think about it. Like there could be time I could literally come down and I'm sizing the dude up and his hand drops a little and I'm pulling it because that's my instinct and that's what
Yeah.
I trained. And when I'm playing like that, I might take a bad shot or two, but I'm gonna be playing really well for the most part because I'm playing free and I'm playing my game. So I think to get to your point is that it's definitely mental, and it was for me. It was just a matter of playing free, playing relaxed, and not caring what people thought.
Yeah, I think that's important because there are guys, you, Christian, a lot of guys who like everyone says work hard, right? But like you can work hard every day and still not find success, you know? So that is super important, like the mindset you go into it, because you can go into that mindset of, oh, I work so hard, I earn this, I deserve this. Like there's no reason I shouldn't have success. It's just like you said, you're putting a little too much pressure on yourself. So I think it's important what you're saying, which is work hard, study the material, be consistent, but at the same time, you need to find a way to play relaxed and play free, because that's at the end of the day, confidence is the most important thing.
100%.
Yeah.
100% can literally take you from,
Yeah.
confidence can take you from, having 2 points, 1 assist, and playing 15 minutes or 10 minutes. And the next day you're confident and you weren't even trying to score and all do all that. And you had 20, 30 and y'all won. So
Yeah.
it's literally, your skills don't diminish overnight. It's literally all up here. And that's how it is for all sports. I feel like the ability to calm down in that moment, it's easier said than done, but
Yeah.
it's something that I'm working on. And it's an everyday challenge.
I think maybe, yeah, you have to. It's hard because when it's just what you by yourself in a gym, how are you supposed to recreate that situation? Like I've been around it, you've been around it. Middle of a game, fans, coaches on you, you on you. It's so hard to lock in that moment.
Yeah.
If somebody has the formula to to being relaxed in those situations, I mean, that's the goal right there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like one thing to your point, one thing I've learned this year, and I'd say, well, how I'm approaching things different this year, kind of how I was approaching it with the couple months that me and you were working out. I
Uh-huh.
think it's very important to create that like calm sense in the game. You need to do things in practice that are either exactly like the game almost, or even harder than the game.
Uh-huh.
Because because you can grow that confidence in yourself throughout your workouts, where you're like, okay, now I get in the game. When I see this, I don't care. I'm not thinking about it. And like for example, we were working on getting my shot off quicker, and for those couple months, you were like 2 to 5 feet from me, and you're throwing the ball and you're trying to block my shot as soon
Yeah.
as it touches my hand. So I had to get it off quick, and it was at a speed I wasn't used to. And if you threw me in a game and I hadn't practiced that, and they kick it to me in the corner, and that 6'8" dude's sprinting towards me, and I need to get it off, shot clock's low, I'm not going to feel comfortable. I'm going to miss it, or I'm not going to get it off in time. He's going to block it. But if I'm practicing that and I'm doing it the right way, I don't have to think about it. I know he's 6'8" coming at me. I know the clock's coming down, but I know when this ball touches my hand, it's going up, and that I'm going to feel comfortable with it. So, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things I've been watching film the past few weeks. I've watched every year. I watched all my possessions, where it's all your field goal attempts, your turnovers, and your assists. And I've been watching every year, and I've been making notes. Every time I see something where I'm like, oh, I should have this, or I could be better at this, I'm writing it down, and then I'm trying to think of a creative way. Next time I go in the gym, how am I gonna, put this into my workout so that when I see this in the game, I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, if there's one thing I've learned um just in the past years, like what works, try to get as close to that game like situation as possible. Like
Yeah.
it's just like why, trainers are going to put you a lot of the time through shit like, okay, we're going to do 5 dribble pull-ups on the left side around the trash can, 5 to the right. You look at the film and 7 of your 10 attempts end up being stuff around the rim, like literally just like little layups, or like in Christian's case, he used to get a bunch of like stuff 2 feet around the rim, like just going through contact, little stuff. And it's
Yeah.
weird. It's weird to just practice that. Like, oh, we're going to practice throwing it off the backboard, catching it and going right back up. But like if that's realistically the scenario you're getting in every game, then you need to practice that and do it at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be very specific, and I would, yeah, I learned a lot. I actually learned a lot from Christian. I look back at my senior year, and I'm like, I should have been doing exactly what he was doing before practice, because you guys always before practice had a specific thing, even if it was simple, just going the hole, doing his right hand layup or his offhand, something like that. It was something simple, but you guys had something specific for those 15, 20 minutes that you guys were working on.
Yeah.
But, specific focused work is going to make a difference over time. And, it's important to not confuse activity with progress, because I feel like there have been times where I've been in the gym and I'm like, I'm getting my 600, 800 shots, whatever on the gun. And I'm like, I'm going home thinking I'm I'm going home thinking I'm all that. And I put the work in, but I go to the game, I go play next day fives, and I don't feel comfortable. Why? Well, I was just standing there shooting spot-up jumpers for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I wasn't shooting it at the pace I need to, at the game speed. I wasn't doing different footwork. It's got to be specific. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned. And I feel like when I was coming up, going, like when I fell in love with the game, when I was young, I was super specific. I was buying a lot of training programs. I was trying to learn everything I can, watching a lot of film. And every time I went to the gym, I was super specific about it. And I was able to apply things to my game like that. Like I could practice something and 2 days later, I'm going to do that move on somebody and feel normal.
Yeah.
But if you're not specific with your work and you're just going to the gym and getting shots up, you're not going to see that progress. And I think that's a big thing I've learned. It's something I'm going to do different moving forward, make sure that's always how I'm training.
Yeah, absolutely. Just get straight to the game like stuff. One story I definitely want to talk about. Senior year, do you remember pre-game you were going through that stretch, we'd be at Songus and you just be sitting out in the stands, just staring out into the court, like visualizing. I think it's around that time you started doing some reading, and you were just really trying to focus. It's just, I think when you look back, players like players like Christian that really, really care about this shit, like you guys got something going on. You're always trying to, outside of practice, doing something to try and level yourself up.
Mm-hmm. So you want me to touch on like that moment, I guess?
Yeah, because I know you had flipped into a different mindset at that point.
Yeah. All right. I guess I'm giving a secret out here. But I read this book.
Give the secret.
I'll give my somewhat secret. I read this book by Tim Grover, who's Michael Jordan, Dwayne Wade, Kobe's trainer. And the whole book is about their approach to the game, but from a mental aspect. And I guess, when you were talking about at the Songus, just staring off into space, I was able to properly apply everything that I was reading. I read the book in like a week, and I was just super absorbed in it and in that mindset. And that's something that I'm trying to replicate, because I know when I get in that zone, I don't feel like there's anyone that can stay in front of me or do anything with me. So, but he talked about the whole emphasis of the book is about, you're putting the work in obviously beforehand. You're building that repertoire so you're comfortable when the game comes, but when the game comes, you have to be in this emotionless, just focused on the goal, which is winning mindset. And I remember I'd just be sitting there, and I was actually looking at all my teammates, trying to figure out who was ready to play that day. I was trying to figure out who was locked in and who wasn't, who I felt like I could throw it to in certain situations, who I felt like I could count on, because I was just so focused on winning. And, the games would start, and I had just this different calming effect to me. Like if I missed a shot, I literally did not remember it, which is really weird. I would not remember it. And I was just, everything was just coming free flowing. It was like we weren't even calling plays, even though we were sometimes. Like I was just out there, just playing like it was pickup, and everything came natural to me. And you can get in that zone like that. So, that's something that I'm trying to work on, because it's easier said than done. I was able to do it, I think there was a 5-game stretch where I did it properly for 4 out of 5. And I played really well in those 4 out of 5. And I was like, wow, like this is the player I've been trying to show, Yeah. So that's the biggest thing for me. I'm definitely trying to just be more consistent with that mindset and know that when I go into games, even though this is the moment, I put all that work in, like I'm ready for it. I'm going to own this moment, and I'm ready to attack and win.
Was there anything you learned other than just flipping that mindset and having a different understanding? Like, was there anything you had to do?
I got some subtle things I did different. Normally I would listen to music pretty like loud, trying to get hyped up. I think those days I would listen to the same music, but I had it so quiet. It was like background noise. So when I was walking through the arena, I wanted everything to just be this, like, I'm in this calm zone. So when I was walking around, I wasn't really talking to nobody. I was just in my zone, just relaxed. The whole time I was just trying to keep my nerves calm, just as calm as I can, to relax and just be focused. And then also having the mentality that, like, I think, throughout those games when I would make a good play, instead of feeling good about it or getting hyped about it, it would be the only word I was telling myself was more. Every time I had a good play, more. And then whenever I messed up, emotionless. That's what I tell myself, emotionless. And I would just move on.
So you're trying to stay just level as possible.
Yeah.
And not riding the wave. I like that.
Ever since you get too high, too low, the getting too high thing is a thing too. You get a couple shots, you get all, emotional, riled up, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, wow, I just hit 3 threes in a row or something. That 4th one you're going to miss because you're like, wow, I just hit 3. I shouldn't hit 4. Like you're already in that. You're on anything. But if you hit it and you're just like, more, I should have hit that.
Yeah.
You're going to keep hitting them. And that's when you get in those zones.
Yeah. That's that effed up MJ mentality. Just the, like, I'm a killer. I'm gonna just keep going. Like, I win a ring, not satisfied. Next, like, just killer mentality.
And it turns into, well, there is no opponent. You're always trying to build. You're always building the habits you're trying to work on. So you're just trying to murder everyone. You don't care if you're playing. You don't care if you're playing a team that's supposed to beat you, and you don't care if you're playing a team that you're supposed to beat. It's the same mentality every time, because it's that never getting too high, never being too low, but never celebrating your achievements afterwards. You beat a team you're supposed to be, you drop 20, you did whatever. Okay, who cares? The next game's a completely different game. And if you're stuck on that, you're going to come out and lay an egg the next game. So that's something that people got to be, it's easier said than done, but staying even keel really is the answer to performing.
Mm-hmm. Who do we play in the playoffs that year? Was it Hartford?
My senior year or junior?
Yeah, your senior year. It was Hartford.
My senior year was Hartford. Yeah, at Hartford.
I kind of forget how that went. No, that game was close.
It was close. It was close.
It came down to the end.
It's kind of a blur. I remember it was kind of a blur. I remember Christian hitting some threes late though. Didn't he have 30 something?
I don't know. I know it was I think the Irish kid hit that corner 3. And then who was the point guard they had? The light-skinned point guard? Lynch, yeah.
J.R. Lynch.
Yeah, I think he had a big shot at the end too. And then we played them my senior year and lost again, which sucks. But now they're on a roll, which is great. Okay, so you graduate, and then now you start to try to look to playing pro? What was that process like?
Well, I actually didn't. I remember reaching out. I didn't have agents knocking on my door. So but I was like, this is what I'm gonna do, and I had the resume to do it, so I wasn't down it at all. So
Mhm.
I made my resume. I reached out to the coaches. I made my own film with their help, and yeah, I found a website online, or I started sending out. I probably emailed 20, 30 agents. I heard back from a few. I had a phone calls with a couple of them, and then yeah, I signed with the agent there, and then they, I went to two pro camps. If you're thinking about going to a pro camp, don't go to a pro camp. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went to a couple pro camps. And then my agent had me sign in. What did I sign? I want to say I left September 1st, so I must have signed in August.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I signed it. I signed in Portugal. And yeah.
And what was that year like?
Um, the first day was rough. I got there and was the only one there the first day, so I was like in shock. I was like, I was like I was in this empty house, and I had pulled, I'd flew, so I had basically pulled an all-nighter because I didn't sleep at all on the plane, and I'm exhausted, and I'm like, I finally get there, and I'm ready to put my head down, lay down, and I like can feel the damn springboards like on my back and crap, and I was so tired, but I laid there for 2 hours and did not sleep. And at that moment, I was losing it a little bit. I was. I was losing it a little bit because I could. Well, and that my phone was dead, and they have different outlets there. My outlet wouldn't plug in, so it's not like I could contact anybody. And then the Wi-Fi was also down. So I just kind of. I just figured it out and got through that day, and then but it was much better once some of the other Americans showed up and everything. But overall the year was it was just different, man. It's hard to explain it. It's just different being in a different country, playing for money now. Like and it's another level up from college, I would say. Playing it was more like the high major level than the mid major level. Once I got over there, there was seasoned vets, dudes that are getting paid the good bucks, and they're 30, and I was a rookie coming in, so it was different. It was a challenge. Same challenges, I would say. Mentally for me. My first game, for example, my first game, the first quarter, I was again a little stiff, and my coach pulled me out and was like mad at me, said something to me, and I'm out. And then I come back in the second round. I remember being on the bench, waiting to come back in, and I was like pissed because I was like, bro, I done put so much work in. Like, what is going on right now? And I was like, all right, it's mental. Like, what do I need to do to get back? And I played with my friend Christian Cunningham. He's playing in Israel right now. He was we would train a lot throughout the summer. We play one-on-one a lot. And this he's 6'7", and I'm not exaggerating, he jumps like LeBron. So we would play every day. And I remember the first couple of days, he was beating me pretty good. But I definitely started to figure out, and we started having really close games. And it was basically, anything could happen that day. But I remember sitting on the bench in that second quarter, about to go back in. And I was looking around the court, and I was like, there's no one on the court that's a better defender than Christian Cunningham right now. So I'm going to go out and be me. And I had 0 in the first, and I think they gave me 2 extra points. I think they gave me 2 of my teammates' free throws. But so then I guess I finished with 29 in that first game. And that was just, another eye opener about the mental thing. But, coming after that game, I kind of woke the league up when I did that, because I started getting trapped quite a bit in the pick and roll. and I could tell I was definitely more of an emphasis on the scouting report. And I had a couple off games a couple games later, and I don't think I didn't do the best job mentally of digging out of that hole. I think I let it get to me a little too much. I was also playing at a weight I don't think I should have been playing at. I think I kind of underestimated the physicality of those leagues. That was a big adjustment for me because I did not get foul calls when I went to the hole. Like, it was not a thing. I don't know if it was an American thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I was flopping. I don't know. I was not, but I wasn't strong enough. I was not doing what I needed to do. I think I was playing at like 175. So that was a big thing that I got to change. I'm at like 190. I'm fluctuating between 190, 195 now, but I'm also a lot more lean than I used to be when I was at 180. So that's something I changed. The year was different. I had my ups and downs again. Big learning curve. I also wasn't, not making an excuse or anything, but I wasn't in the best mental space at that time. I wasn't adjusting to everything the way I needed to. Mm-hmm. So I think it was just, a lot of growing up and maturing done in that year, because, you're forced to when you're thrown in a different country. And, I didn't get a card from the team. So it was literally like I had practice and my own individual workouts that I was doing on the side. And other than that, I was just in my room. Yeah. And that can be depressing for some people. I'm more of an introvert, so I don't trip about that too much. But there was times where I wasn't in a good mental space, and because I wasn't happy with the way I was playing. I wasn't happy with the situation. But again, if you're not happy with the situation, it's on you to fix it. So I've had to look back at the season, watch a lot of film, trying to figure out what was going on in my head at certain times, and try to figure out how I can be better in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's obviously something a lot of people go through. The basketball ends up dictating, when you really care about it, the basketball ends up dictating pretty much your whole life because it's so important, so meaningful to you, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, I think I got too down at times when I didn't play well. Like, again, it's got to be that emotionless thing. You got to forget about it and move on, because whether you play well or bad, there's always the next day. And I just need to be more mature about that as a rookie, and I wasn't.
Mm-hmm. That's totally understandable. Did your coach speak English?
Yeah. Well, most of my teammates, they spoke English, and the coaches, but it was just they didn't have like a wide vocabulary, I would say. I guess they had very limited ways of explaining things.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the most part, though, he was yelling in Portuguese.
Was there anything like cool you got to experience like off the court in Portugal? Or
off the court?
Yeah. Like any good food? What were the highlights?
See, that's the thing. To be honest with you, with not having a car, there wasn't really highlights off the court, which is what made it rough when the court, if I wasn't playing the way I wanted, that did make it kind of rough, because I didn't have a car to go. I can go to drive an hour to Lisbon and do whatever, just unwind. I couldn't really do that. You had to sit and fester in your room and think about it. So it was pretty much just basketball.
Yeah. Hey, that's kind of what comes with the territory, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully, moving forward, you usually do get a car. So, hopefully moving forward, I'll get a car, and then it'll be a much better situation.
When you look back on UMass Lowell, like what types of things do you remember, like non-basketball wise? Like I like we were obviously before talking about like China Star and stuff. The coaches they had told us that several times. Like I remember like Lou and Nick just telling us like college is the only place, like this will be the only time you're going to be around like all these people you really mess with like every day. Like you end up just becoming kind of like separate after that. I think that's really true. Like I'll literally just sit driving to work or whatever and just think like, then like I do miss those times, like going to China Star,
Yeah.
just hanging out on like a Friday night or whatever.
Yeah, I mean I miss college a lot. I mean, just being able to I would always go over to your guys' place. We have practice, whatever. I did my workouts for the day, and I just go over to your guys' place and we'll play 2K or
Yeah, no
just
knock
shoot
or
the shit
anything.
for a while. Huh?
I said no knock or anything. Just you just walking
No
in.
knock,
You're
no knock. Just handing out L's. That's all. Just walking in and handing out L's. No, but I mean, something like that though is important. Like being able to wind down and take your mind off the game
yeah.
is really important as far as performing, because you get that you do get the opportunity to come in with a fresh, relaxed mind. If you've been spending the whole entire day sitting and thinking about the game you're about to play or the game you just played, it's too much
Yeah.
mentally and emotionally. Like you need some kind of something to wind down.
Yeah.
And being at college was great because obviously we all liked each other. We all had the same interests with the basketball team, so we got to do things and hang out and have a lot of good times, good memories.
Yeah, absolutely. I miss those times. What else? Okay, a couple cool things. Music. What do you listen for music? I know you're a big music guy.
What were my top 5 artists on that Apple thing? I had Future, Drake was second, Gunna third. I think Roddy Rich and Lil Wayne were my top 5.
Okay, I remember you being into Lowell.
For the most part, huh?
I remember you being pretty into that Lil Wayne album for way too long.
The Carter 5.
Yeah, you and Sean Jones, the Jones brothers.
The Carter 5, yes, the Carter 5 is tough. I would say, I mean, those 5 artists, but I do like some R&B too. Not too much though. But I mean, I probably listen to.
Not too much.
I listen to Black.
I don't listen to him at all.
I know Christian. I know Lou Tete doesn't like him. He doesn't like his voice, which has got me all types of messed up. But because I be hearing him humming his lyrics and the shit in the locker room too. That's why I'm like, get out of here, Christian. I be hearing you singing his songs and you be saying he's trash. But
he'll be humming some classical music or some shit.
True. Yeah. Yeah. I off the top of my head, that's probably. I mean, I don't be doing. I like Erykah Badu too. It's kind of like a childhood thing for me.
I don't even know who that is.
It's a girl. She's just straight R&B.
I probably wouldn't like it.
My dad used to play her on the little cassette tapes. I was sitting in the back of his truck every day to work. So it's kind of like a comfort thing for me. I like to listen to her.
Back in the good old days.
Yeah.
I wrote down, what is your take on social media right now? You and I used to always have go through phases where we delete social media. Where are you at with social media?
I mean, I still use it. I don't know. I guess I'm kind of in spurts with it. Sometimes I don't post for months at all, and then sometimes I'll post like 3-4 stories in a day. So I don't know. I mean, you gotta. I mean, social media you're always exchanging energy with anything you engage in. So every once in a while, if social media is being counterproductive to my life, then I feel like if I feel like I'm slipping in any area of my life, I usually go on a little bit of a social media absence.
Mm-hmm.
But it is entertaining at times, but I try not to get caught up in it too much. Not much on Twitter. It's really just I don't be snapping either. It's really just Instagram, to be honest. I don't know. It's not too counterproductive for me. I follow so many basketball pages, and I try to follow some things as well that are gonna
help.
help and kind of point you in the right direction sometimes on your day. I'll try to follow something that might be religious or like a motivational speaker,
Mm-hmm.
something like that if I can. Um, yeah.
Open
How about
dialogue,
you?
open dialogue podcast. I heard they got some good stuff.
Yeah.
You like my
Yes, sir.
motivational speeches in the car?
I did. I was like, he's speaking facts.
Yeah, absolutely. What about NBA players? Who do you like right now?
I like LaMelo right now, man.
Always coming
And
with
the reason
these Trey
huh?
Young, LaMelo. There's a theme here,
I,
man.
bro, I mean, look at if you look at those two players though, the thing I admire about them so much is they don't give a fuck.
Yes, yes, yeah.
And that's key.
That's true.
I mean, so yeah, man, I like their game, bro. They do stuff you're not necessarily supposed to do sometimes, but they've done it before, they trained it, they feel comfortable doing it, so they do it. And I wanna be that free, that free playing, free, just freelancing, reacting off instinct player all the time. I definitely have done it a lot, but I want to do it the way they do it. They do it every night, man. So that's, that I like to watch them. They're really creative. And, everyone was talking all that noise and they obviously didn't listen to a word of it. So I like to watch people like that.
Yeah,
Really just I mean, I like to watch LaMelo right now, but really just any of the good point guards, to be honest. Even some of the twos, but I like to watch the point guards.
yeah. The pick and roll obviously is so important. That's what gets me. It's just like how they're handling that, like especially like Luca in the pick and roll, just like decision
Yeah.
making. That's what I loved at UMass Lowell the most, was because we had so much pick and roll stuff. So much of
Yeah.
our communication was, all right, they hard hedge, we're gonna do this. They switch, we're gonna do this. Like you technically can always have an answer for what the defense throws at you. Though, like, and
Mhm.
when you're playing your game, like, and those guys, like, they're gonna be okay. You throw this at me, okay, I'll do this. Like, they always literally have an answer for whatever coverage they throw at them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I like to watch Lillard too because they don't like to let him do anything in the pit. Like they try to trap him almost all the time in the pick and roll because at first they're doing that, that sag off like low
Yeah,
show, low cowboy, and he's just pulling that, walking into that three every time.
yeah.
So I like to watch that because I was like, wow, like if you can hit that shot like consistently,
You can't
like
do
that
anything.
kills the defense. You
Yeah.
can't defend that. You have to trap. And then I like to watch though because I was like, man, I was getting trapped and I felt like I had to get rid of it immediately. And that is the right play
Mhm.
most of the time. But I like to watch Lillard because he's trying to beat. Well, sometimes he'll just beat the guard before the screen comes.
Yes.
And then other times, even when they are trapping, he's trying to beat the big around the corner. And if he overcommits, he's going to split. But he has a great feel for it all. He knows when he can get around the corner, when he can split, and he knows when he needs to get rid of it. So yeah, I like to watch him. I mean, even LeBron, even though he's a point forward, so I like to watch him too. I feel like right now, I mean, he's the smartest player in the game, and I like to watch how his teammates play with him because I was watching a video. Shumpert was talking about how he's on the court, like he has the ball in the post, and he's talking them through what's about. Like if he moves, cut. Like he's telling them all this stuff. So he's 2 steps ahead of it, and he puts his teammates in positions to look good. So I not only do I like to watch him, but I like to watch how his teammates play off of him. And I've also been more interested in people get a lot of easy baskets by just cutting. If you can cut at the right time, that's a really underrated skill. And Christian Nutete was really good at that. He cut a lot and he got a lot of easy layups off of it. So I'm just trying to learn as much as I can from any point guard or anyone that I feel like has a high Q and plays like they don't give a fuck.
That's the name of the game. Okay, so last thing for anybody who's listening, they're in high school, middle school, whatever, even college, what advice would you want to leave them with? or what, you know, like what would you tell your high school self, like looking back?
Um, well, I would say just in general for like in any aspects of life, like whatever people are passionate about, you know, obviously you need to love whatever you're doing. I would say that, you know, that's really important because there's going to be BS that comes with any business or direction you try to take your life. There are things you have to deal with. And in order to get through those and to get to those goals, you need to have a love for what you're doing. So I would say love what you do. And then like dedicate your life to it, man. Like that's really what I've done. Um, like I made that decision at 13. I'm still climbing that ladder. Like, I mean, like, you know, I am talented. Don't get me wrong. I have a lot of God-given talent. I'm a pretty well-rounded athlete, but I think it says a lot that basketball by far was, bro, I was a backup center who was a turnover machine my first year playing basketball. But baseball and football, like I walked on, I was automatically good, except for my 8th grade year in baseball. I was terrible that year.
Yeah.
If you played with me that year, I was bad that year. But other than that, no, like football and baseball, especially football though, it was supernatural to me. And it was one of those like that football, you know, I talk about like being calm and you know, just having that emotionless confidence to you. I had it 100% football, and I don't think it will ever leave me. And basketball was something I built from the ground up for sure. I was not good, and I was the kid you did not, you know, my first guy. I'm a backup center. You're not if they're pressing, do not give the ball to Ryan. Like you can ask the people that play with me in 5th grade. You can ask the people that play with me in 5th grade. If they're pressing, do not give the ball to Ryan. Because I was a turnover. But, you know, here I am. I played point guard at Division I university. I'm a point guard as a pro now. So, you know, it can be done. And no one believed that I was going to do the things that I said I was going to do. But I dedicated my life to it, and I knew I was working around the clock. So, you know, whatever I would say, any advice I have for anyone is, you know, be super resilient about your dream, love what you're doing, and dedicate your life to it because there's a lot of people that got the same dream, and you got to do something to separate yourself.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for coming on, Ryan.
Appreciate it, bro.
All right.
Thanks for having me.